إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الحديث حديث محمد وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة. As we know, the Prophet ﷺ was known to be the mercy upon mankind, someone who brought mercy and was a form of mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he was a human being to not to just convey mercy, but to teach us how to be merciful and how to be loving. There was a story about a deer. A deer was trapped by a man that was traveling with the Prophet ﷺ. And this deer spoke to the Prophet ﷺ saying, Ya Rasulullah, help me escape right now. I promise that I'll come back, but I have a child that's in the woods that I need to feed. I had newborn children. So can you let me go, and I promise you, I give you my word that I will come back. And the Prophet ﷺ, out of his mercy, allowed the deer to go. He didn't tell the companion that he was traveling with. So the deer left, and the companion came to the Prophet ﷺ and was questioning, where did my deer go? Who let it out? Because where he captured the deer, it was broken, it was open. So the Prophet ﷺ said, I let the deer go because she needed to go feed her children. And she promised me that she will come back. The man got angry and started yelling. And then when he looked in the corner, the deer was coming right back after it had fed its children. And the man said, Ashhadu la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abdahu wa rasuluh. Took shahada right then and there. But a form of mercy, the Prophet ﷺ showed an animal. And that made such a difference that this man was attracted to the deen. One of the most attractive qualities that we can have within our deen is a form of mercy. When you teach people with love, when you show people mercy, people run to the deen. The Prophet ﷺ was a man who, when he was in Taif, and stones were being thrown there, and he was bleeding so much that his shoe was glued onto his foot because of the blood that had frozen up. And when the angels came to the Prophet ﷺ and asked, do you want me to destroy these people? The Prophet ﷺ at that moment, after going through brutality, going through abuse, still showed mercy, and he said, no, forgive them, because amongst them there might be someone that comes and becomes a Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ, his character, his form of mercy is shown throughout so many hadiths. One hadith of the Prophet ﷺ was when he was walking with a woman this old woman was carrying a lot of luggage, and the Prophet ﷺ was walking with her. And she didn't know this was the Prophet ﷺ. And she kept insulting the Prophet ﷺ, saying, have you heard about Muhammad? He's ruining our town, he's causing havoc within our society, he's doing this and he's doing that, and she continued insulting. The Prophet ﷺ stayed quiet and walked the entire way, took her luggage until her house, he dropped it off, and then she asked, what's your name, by the way? And the Prophet ﷺ said, my name is Muhammad. And right then and there she took shahada. Ashhadu la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Whenever there was any act of mercy that was shown, people got attracted, affected their hearts. People are soft people. They're sensitive. When you see any kindness that's done with anybody, it's beautiful. It hits your heart in a way that nothing else can hit it. And it brings a form of tranquility and a form of peace within you. The Prophet ﷺ one time was his companion, one of his companions was in the market and he was selling items. And the Prophet ﷺ came behind him and he played with his companion. So he went and he put his hands across his face and asked, guess who this is? And the man didn't know, he didn't know who it was. But then when he took his hands off, he saw the hands of the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ, no doubt, was a human being, but his hands were not like ours. There's nur in the Prophet ﷺ that we can't even imagine. And when he saw it, he just grabbed his hands and he hugged the Prophet ﷺ. And the Prophet ﷺ at that moment saw that this man, his thobe, it was above his ankles. But because of this love and this harmony that was already being enjoined at that time, the Prophet ﷺ said, what's going on with your thobe? He said, he didn't know what the issue was. He thought, oh, maybe my thobe is dirty, or it's cheap. So he told the Prophet ﷺ, it's cheap, I'll get a new one. The Prophet ﷺ, no. Then he looked at the Prophet ﷺ, and he saw that his thobe was above his ankles. And just by that hidayah, guidance, a form of nasiha was given to him. Oftentimes in today's society, whenever we criticize people, we go and we immediately attack them. Whether it's a young person who converted to Islam, they might have a different type of hairstyle. They might have something, they might have earrings. They might be wearing shorts in the masjid. But we continuously berate them. We hurt them, we attack them, so they don't even come. We go and lecture them as if every single person within the society is qualified or is a mufti or that can hand out fatwas. When in reality, the Prophet ﷺ's sunnah is to just show mercy, stay patient with people. Imam Suhaib Webb, a great scholar of today, he would not advise any single person until he had known them for 1 year. He would not say anything no matter what the person did. He would wait, he would form a relationship so that there's some type of brotherhood, some type of connection, and then he would talk to them. When you're going and you see any new person that walks in and you criticize them, they're going to take it the wrong way. Even you would take it the wrong way, so why do you think that they won't? And we walk around with this self-righteous mentality that, whatever, we're saving the ummah, we're saving these people. No one is saving anybody. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you tawfiq to be able to worship. If you're praying tahajjud, if you're reading Quran, that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving it to you. He's giving you the tawfiq, He's giving you the opportunity. It's not by your own will that you're doing it. By our own will that we're doing it. It's by Allah's will. And because He's given us that should humble us. That should keep us down to earth. When we talk to anyone else, we should know that even if this person is doing this, may Allah give him tawfiq. But we should never think that this person is below us so we can give them advice. Instead, that this is our brother, we both will help each other this way. Nasiha, giving nasiha in today's society has become such an issue because so many people don't have wisdom, hikmah. Hikmah is missing from within our society when we talk to people. There's a famous pothead in France who smoked a lot of weed, right? He smoked a lot of weed, and he was in France, and he heard that there was really good weed in India. So he went to India to travel. When he went to India and he traveled over there, he heard from someone else that, look, Pakistan has even better weed. Go over there, you'll find even better weed there. So he goes and he's sitting with his friends, the friends that he made over there. They're like, you're not Muslim, the cop, you can get in trouble if you have weed in your hands. So he's like, what should I do? They're like, say the shahada. Ashhadu la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. And he says, okay, I said it. He repeats it. And at the same time, there's an American scholar who's in Pakistan studying under Maulana Yusuf rahmatullah. And he comes and he sees this man, he looks familiar, this man is European, this man is American. He sees him, he's like, what are you doing here? He's like, he tells him a story why he's here. And this man says, the cops are gonna arrest you. You're gonna go in jail because you're not even a Muslim, and you're smoking drugs that are not allowed. He says, I already said the shahada, I'm good. He says, tell me the shahada, do you know it? He's like, no. So the scholar says, you know what? Let's come with me to my teacher where I study. Just learn a little bit, and then after that you can go back and do whatever you want. So when the cops question you, they'll know. They'll be like, okay, you can pass. You know enough Islamic knowledge to pass. So this man goes and he sits with Maulana Yusuf. But the American scholar talks to Maulana Yusuf and tells him about the situation. He says, okay, tell him to come. When he comes, Maulana Yusuf says that I'm going to give you a room here. This man had no place to live when he was in Pakistan. He was from France, barely spoke the language. Maulana Yusuf says, stay here with me, you stay in my house, you do whatever you want, that's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's not between me, that's not my concern. All I ask you is to come for your class, and that's all I ask. 6 months went by. This man, how much weed he smoked, only Allah knows. How much drugs he did, only Allah knows. But when he sat down with Maulana Yusuf day by day by day, it affected his heart. 6 months later, he comes to Maulana Yusuf and says, I want to be a Muslim today. I want to be a Muslim, a true Muslim today. I want to recite the Shahada. Help me recite the Shahada. He stayed there. He studied for 6 years. Then he went back to France. If I named a scholar, if anyone is from France, they would know. The only reason I won't name him is because the sin is impact. But he's such a well-known scholar from France. This was his journey. Someone showed him mercy, someone showed him love, and attracted him and made him into a scholar that has spread so much deen within France. So many students that have ijazah all go back to him. This was his level. But just one act of mercy showed him that. A thief, during the time of Junaid al-Baghdadi, rahmatullahi alayh, was a very well-known thief within the society. He stole and stole and stole. He would get caught, he would get punished. He would go through jail, come back, go back to jail, come back, but he would never listen. He never learned. And even one time he had his hand cut off. So he was in jail for a little while, and the first thing he said, okay, as soon as I get out, I'm going to go on my next mission. I'm going to steal something. So he goes into his house and he sees all this lavish clothing. So he goes and he starts folding his clothing. And he's having difficulty because of his hand. Along comes an old man walking with milk. He sees this man struggling while he's rolling these clothing, and he says, sit down, drink some milk. This is an old man in his 70s, and he says, and he goes and he starts rolling the clothing himself. So the thief quickly says, look, do you know who I am? I'm one of the most famous thieves around here. If you want to be my partner, if you want to join me in my mission, then this, whatever we steal from here, you don't get it. I take it, because right now I'm in a really desperate position. The old man says nothing. The old man finishes rolling his clothing and he walks with the thief is like, okay, come with me. It's somewhere in the woods where the thief keeps all of his belongings. The old man goes with him and he's following him the entire way. The thief is cursing at him. The thief is insulting him. Hurry up, you're slow, what are you doing? You know, you're wasting my time. Come on. And this is an old, fragile man that's walking, carrying all this clothing for this thief. Maybe he was thinking of the time where the Prophet ﷺ was being insulted and the Prophet ﷺ stayed silent. Maybe. So he walks all the way to the forest. He drops off his stuff. And the thief gives him a little bit. He's like, take this because you did this for me. Take this. And the old man says, I don't want anything. I don't need anything from you. This house to which you came at is my house. The house from which you stole is my house. And everything you stole, everything you took was from me. And if you ever need anything else, come back to the same place. Come back to my house again, and I'll assist you again. Years and years and years of punishment, years of retribution. The thief never learned. But one act of mercy led him to such a state of confusion. He couldn't sleep that night. He woke up, went back into town, looking for this old man. He inquired about this old man. He found out this was Junaid al-Baghdadi, and he ran to the Sheikh, and he said, Sheikh, I want to do tawbah. I never want to steal ever again. I want to do tawbah now. One act of kindness again changed someone's entire life. Nasiha, whenever nasiha was given, if it was given in a merciful way, the result was always beautiful. The result was such a transcending change that people can't even imagine. So many stories. Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanwi, rahmatullah, when he was a very big sheikh of his time. So a lot of people would ask him for to come and meet him. They would write him letters. We want to meet you, sheikh. Can we meet you? One guy said, I don't have a beard. Can I still meet you, Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanwi? So of course you can meet me. Even if you don't have a beard, of course you can meet me. Another man said, I'm a drunkard. I drink all the time. He wrote him a letter. I drink all the time. I can't stop drinking. But can I meet you? Because I want to spend some time with you. I want to know Allah. I want to know who Allah is. Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanwi wrote him a letter back. Come, stay with me in my house for as long as you need. I'll give you a room. Whatever you do in there, that's between you and Allah. I'm no one to ask you about it. I'm nobody to ask you about it. That's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This man took the letter.